What is good, YouTube? It's your boy OG Nonboy back with another video, and in today's video I have a battle submission by a subscriber of mine by the name of Ripley320, and they're also a content creator, so I'm going to link their stuff in the description below. But this team consists of a pretty common pairing of Steel and Dragon, and you have the Steel lead in the Melmetal and then the two dragons in the back in the terms of the Shundo, HYDREIGON, and the Dragonite as well. So I'm very excited to get into these battles here, and from the looks of it, some of his Pokemon aren't all the way maxed out, but he's still able to make it work. And I'm also not the biggest expert on the Open Master League, as I've basically never played it since I don't have level 50 Pokemon, but kudos to him for still rocking this league, even though not all his Pokemon are maxed out to level 50. So first match here, we have a pretty decent lead. The Metagross into Melmetal. The only thing you kind of have to worry about is the Earthquake, as that would one-shot you, I would assume, but they're going to swap and catch the move onto their Kyogre, and they're also going to shield the move. So this puts Ripley in a pretty good position, as the Waterfalls are resisted by the Dragonite, and also the Dragon Breath plus the Dragon Claws are going to add up quite a bit. The only move that you have to really worry about on Kyogre is the Blizzard, but the opponent not even building up to the Blizzard, so puts him in a pretty comfortable position, so he doesn't really have to shield anything here. And I also don't really know the counts, but I just know that Blizzard takes quite a long time to get to, and that definitely wasn't enough time. So opponent gonna get off another Surf. This might KO from this range, so I'm gonna shield this to maintain switch, and the opponent swaps into the Palkia. So I'm gonna bring in the HYDREIGON here, both doing super effective damage with the Dragon Breaths, and he's going to swap into the Melmetal here and get off a superpower. So this is probably gonna force the Palkia to dump the energy here, and now probably gonna be able to farm down with the HYDREIGON and have some residual energy for whatever ends up being well, actually, we do know what the last Pokemon is. It's the Metagross from the lead. So this Brutal Swing going to be doing super effective damage, but I doubt it KOs from this range. Brutal Swing, not a terribly strong like nuke move, so gonna have to shield this move here, but looks to be in a pretty solid position to just farm everything down at this point in time. So Kyogre coming back in, gonna farm that down, and then has the Brutal Swing ready. Looks like he kind of wanted to go for the Flash Cannon to flex on him, but not quite able to get there before being able to farm them down, so opting to throw the Brutal Swing instead. Next match here, we have Melmetal into Mewtwo, so kind of have to worry about the Focus Blast if the opposing Mewtwo does know the Focus Blast. And I assume at this ELA range at least that maybe most of the Mewtwo's would know Focus Blast as a secondary move, since the Shadow Ball kind of takes extra resources to know in terms of a elite charge TM. So catching the Focus Blast on the Dragonite here, and then able to get a superpower off on the Metagross. And opponent should probably farm down in this scenario, and they will have a lot of energy to threaten whatever comes back in. So gonna bring the Melmetal in, and this could be an Earthquake, so going to respect it with a shield. Ends up just being a Meteor Mash, but gonna reach this superpower and throw it right away. So this will either take out the Metagross or take a shield. So opponent opting to let it go, and they bring in a Kyogre. So gonna swap out to clear that debuff, and this is a pretty good scenario to be in, assuming the opponent does not know Blizzard, or you're able to shield up the Blizzard correctly. So opponent letting that go, and then they're gonna swap back into their Mewtwo. So gonna go straight for the farm down here, and gonna shield this move. Does end up being the Focus Blast again, that would have definitely one-shotted. And now all they have to do is farm down this Kyogre. So in this scenario, probably don't want to throw moves, since they just were able to sneak in a free fast move, and you're definitely not going to be able to get to 3 moves before you end up farming down the opponent. Well, actually you would, just because the Melmetal also has a move, but there's really no need to in this scenario, since they were quite low regardless. So next match, we have Melmetal Mirror Match. So as you can see, the opponent's Melmetal is a whole like 500 CP more than their Melmetal, but this means they're most definitely going to lose CMP. But in this scenario, you actually kind of want to, just because they're going to be debuffed now, and then you're going to be able to get off yours. But since the CP difference is so big, it ends up doing about the same damage. So I'm going to swap into the Dragonite to catch the next superpower. That just barely tickling the Dragonite, and they're able to bait out the Mamoswine. So this is exactly how you play an ABB team. Like, you want to bait out the thing that your back two Pokemon are weak to. So I'm going to shield the Avalanche and going for the Dragon Claw here. So not even building up to the superpower, which could be a bit of a misplay, but thankfully the opponent decides to shield their Mamoswine. And now going to be able to align their Melmetal to this Mamoswine here. So going to throw the superpower straight away, and hopefully the opponent lets this go, just because it would be pretty tricky if they didn't, and they end up bringing in a Kyogre. So I'm going to go for the Rock Slide, and then the Hydreigon here is going to have to clean up this game. So in a decent position again if the opponent does not know the Blizzard, or they are able to shield it correctly. So I'm going to throw this Brutal Swing here before they have to tank a move on the Hydreigon, and then just going to shield this up, and let's see what it is. It ends up being a Surf, so this is going to be close if the opponent does know Blizzard, but throwing a move here. And this also might be another scenario where you do want to just farm down instead of building, or like throwing the charge move, since it looks like you won't actually be able to get to a second charge move here, and you're just going to be able to farm them all the way down. So next match, we have Melmetal into Sylveon. So this is a pretty positive lead, since you are resisting the fast move of the Charm here, and even if it was the Quick Attack, you would also be resisting that due to the Steel typing. So gonna get this Rock Slide off, doing a decent amount of damage here. But like I said again, like, his Melmetal is not maxed out, but still a positive matchup nonetheless. So I'm gonna stay in here, of course, and play this out. Interesting that the opponent is staying in here, since their Sylveon is kind of getting worked here in this scenario, but able to take them out without incurring too much damage. They bring in the Kyogre, and then even though it is a pretty positive matchup, the Melmetal against the Kyogre, still switching into the Dragonite to lure out a potential counter to dragons in the back. So this is kind of some good play by Ripley here, baiting out the Togekiss. So now you're going to be able to have the Melmetal against the Togekiss and your Hydreigon against the Kyogre, and this is basically game over here. So gonna have to potentially respect the Flamethrower here. So ends up just being an Ancient Power. I don't know if it was even enough for a Flamethrower, as I wasn't really counting, but still doesn't really matter too much, since you do kind of have to shield something here, and this charm damage is kind of going to add up, especially after the boost here. So opponent shielding again, and as you can see here, like, them shielding that Ancient Power regardless, even if it was just an Ancient Power, ended up really helping them out in this scenario here. So a little bit unfortunate that they're able to catch the Rock Slide on the Kyogre, but the saving grace here is that the Hydreigon actually knows Flash Cannon. So as long as they're able to farm down this Kyogre and then hit the Flash Cannon on the Togekiss, they should still have the game here. And it looks like the opponent does not have Blizzard, as they are just going straight for Surfs here, and should be able to reach this Flash Cannon just barely. They don't have it yet, but one Dragon Breath, and then they're going to be able to throw the Flash Cannon and take out this Togekiss here. So very well played by Ripley there. And then this is the final match. So we have another Melmetal mirror match. Let's see if they decide to play it out the same way. They're going to build up a little extra here, and then they're going to attempt to catch on the Dragonite, but the opponent keeps farming. So kind of unpredictable as to when opponents will throw if they continue to build up like that, but typically it would be when they build up to double superpowers. So I'm going to have to shield there unless they want to be taken out, and I'm going to be able to get this superpower off at least to get the shield back, and this puts them in a pretty decent scenario, as they will be able to avoid the Mamoswine on their Hydreigon. So I'm going to throw the Rock Slide right away, and opponent letting that go. So they're going to bring in the Garchomp, and this isn't the worst scenario, as these superpowers will be doing neutral damage, and they're going to swap into the HYDREIGON now. So I actually don't know how they're going to manage to pull this off. So let's see here. They go for the Sand Tomb, and these Dragon Tails, I believe, yeah, Dragon Tails are chunking the HYDREIGON quite a lot, but opponent getting a little bit greedy there and attempting a full farm down. So now Ripley's going to be able to get this Brutal Swing off, and actually able to get a second Brutal Swing off. So that is absolutely huge. So this is going to chip down the Melmetal a little bit, and now the opposing Melmetal, I believe they threw 2 moves into the Dragonite at the start. So even though they did get a bit of a farm down, this isn't the worst situation. So going for the Thunderbolt. So they're actually rocking Thunderbolt and Rock Slide. So at this point, this match is pretty much over. Just gonna go for the double superpowers, and that should be the match here. So this will definitely not be a superpower from the opposing Melmetal, and that is a GG's for Ripley. So very interesting games here by Ripley. So thank you so much again for the submission, and yeah, really interesting to see the Shundo HYDREIGON in action, and seeing that you can kind of play pretty well in the Open Master League even if you don't have fully maxed out Pokemon. So that is all for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and also you can submit your battles in the link in the description below as well, and I'd be happy to shoutcast them. So that's all for today, and I'll see you in the next one.